They need to go to detox prior, and sometimes when they're discharging to either our recovery residences or another recovery residences, I coordinate that as well.
So you stay pretty busy, I'm sure.
Yes.
70 people coming through, you're trying to coordinate the logistics and all that.
I have help. I definitely
Well,
have
of
help.
course, good.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm happy to hear that. Chad just says do it yourself.
Yeah.
But I guess maybe we'll start with just like from the beginning, I suppose. I mean, did you grow up in South Florida, or where are you from?
Born in New York, raised in Texas, moved all around Arkansas, Colorado, everywhere.
Oh, wow. All right. And throughout your journey then, I take it you fell a victim to an addiction of some sort, huh?
Absolutely. I mean, I kind of noticed it from the get-go. I always felt like an outsider. I wouldn't say a troubled kid, come from a good family, but I always seemed to get in trouble. There was definitely something going on.
Well, that's too bad. Well,
Yeah.
maybe it was the moving around that.
Oh, I mean, I didn't move around much with family. When I entered my addiction is when I just started moving around, trying to change places, people, and things. Never really seemed to work until I worked on myself.
How about that?
Yeah.
That's a nice little quote, you know, work on yourself. Yeah. Need to make sure I'm recording all this before we go too far. Yeah. James, so what were you addicted to? Was it more than one thing? Was it one specific thing that you got introduced to?
I went through polysubstance abuse phases. Early on, it was benzos, it moved to other forms of pills, it moved to cocaine, other stimulants, but I eventually found my home-based drug, opiates, and moved to heroin, IV heroin.
Gotcha. Dang. And I mean, did you start off with like an injury or something where you needed to get some painkillers, or did you just get someone to introduce it to you at a setting or something?
I started in the cartel-based business, which is actually just parents' medicine cabinets. Biggest cartel business going on right now.
Wow,
Yeah.
interesting. So yeah, you're able to get it from your parents' medicine cabinet, and then became addicted, and one thing led to another, and heroin was the ultimate drug of choice, I guess.
Yep.
So I guess what was so in the moment? What was so great about having a heroin or being able to shoot up and things like that?
A complete detachment from life's problems. So kind of just, like they say, going adrift. Not having to deal with absolutely anything.
Yeah, gotcha. Pros and cons there, though. But what were kind of some of the drawbacks? Or what did you notice started happening to you, or your relationships, or your family, or anything like that?
In the midst of it all, you don't realize it, but ultimately looking back on it, consequences galore, ruined relationships tenfold. I mean, it was family, friends, girlfriends, legal issues. It was nonstop. You just don't notice it at the time.
Damn. What was the final tipping point for you that got you to notice it, to look for some help?
The legal consequences were somewhat minimal. I never got major league felonies. They were all things that I was eventually able to clean up, because working in JACO accredited facilities, you got to clean that up. So such as this place, it would ruin your life, ruin licensure. So thank God for that.
Wow. Yeah.
And what ultimately got me clean was actually the physical consequences. My body was shutting down, and at one point I wasn't able to move. I was couch-bound. I had to be brought to the hospital, and at that point, that's when I sought treatment.
Wow. Who brought you to the hospital?
The first time it was my friends, the second time again friends, and the third time it was family.
Oh my gosh, 3 times that happened, huh?
Yeah.
Man. And so what kind of conversation did you have with the family or people when you're at the hospital after that happened the third time?
Around the third time, I was very open about it. There was no hiding it. Early on in my life, getting kicked out of high school, it was somewhat a problem, but it was brushed under the rug. They really wanted me to not focus on that. There was consequences on their end, not letting me stay at the house. So they were, at that point, trying to, give me consequences to stop. It got to a certain point where they accepted it. They accepted the fact that they were going to bury me. It was a matter of time.
Wow. Well, thank God it didn't come to that. Jeez.
Thank God. And that was when they told me that. I didn't realize it at the time. When I was at the hospital, they told me that they were expecting me to die. And I said, I want to get help now. They weren't the kind of parents to send me off to wilderness programs or treatment when I didn't want to. They waited until I said I want to go.
Well, thank goodness that they didn't wait too long, or it didn't
Exactly.
come,
These
yeah.
days, treatment centers like this, looking back at it, I probably would have had the opportunity to change my life a lot earlier on.
Yeah, in hindsight, but that's easy to, be a Monday morning quarterback. So then what kind of, I don't want to say like gratification maybe do you get now of working in a place like this where you can impact people's lives in like this early 17 to 27, 29 age range and get them on the path maybe faster than you did?
I see the successes as just something beyond even gratification. It's magical. I see myself in them. And even though I am still a young person in recovery, at my age level, I'm a tiny bit over the cusp of them, but it's still enough to relate to them and show them that, I even went farther than you, but it's okay. Like, you can get this, like, right now, and I'm telling you, nothing good will come of it. You're going to waste those extra couple years. And if I was in your shoes, I would be more successful than I am even right now. So get it done, because eventually you're going to do it anyways.
Right. So to hear it first person from somebody is makes all the difference, I would imagine.
Mm-hmm.
For
Peer
patients.
services, insurance companies, and governing bodies are starting to notice more so the importance of that than even they put it on par with the actual counseling services, and that's what they want to move to, support groups and things like that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, good. And then you mentioned it maybe a little bit when we were talking with Chad about stigma surrounding an addiction. It sounded like your parents maybe didn't. I don't know. I don't know the whole situation, but maybe didn't like force anything upon you or anything like that. But did you feel like you were looked upon by your family or friends as like this crazy guy who just has to be on his own?
Yep, I felt outcasted, like the black sheep of the family. Nobody wanted to talk about me, a lot of times not to me. And at the time, I believe it was actually more so them not understanding
Right.
what addiction really was, or a disease model was more of a moral failing. I come from a Hispanic background, and amongst different demographics, they look at it differently.
Sure. Gotcha. So now to hear the U.S. Surgeon General saying we need to stop looking at this as a stigma, moral failing. This has to be a legit, brain disease, neurological, medical approach. How? Is that like music to your ears or what?
Absolutely, it's what we've been working for with everything that I do. The Palm Beach Coalition, all these preventative measures, young people in recovery. You have to start with the language, because it's all about talking about things and how people are feeling that they are perceived, whether it's correct or not. If you hear the proper language, you hear it's more of a medical term. You hear it's not a moral failing, and positive reinforcement, definitely.
Yeah, that's ultimately what we all need to be successful. Good. And so the whole report goes on and on about how that we need to do a better job of treating people, preventing it, and to begin with, like you said, maybe make some changes to the way we prescribe opiates. How hopeful are you that just getting the general public's attention about this maybe will change the whole view and concept and reaction toward addiction, whether it's heroin or alcohol or anything really?
I didn't coin the phrase the cartel in the medicine cabinet,
Okay.
but that has to do with overprescription. It has to do with people not knowing that that is an addictive substance. It has to do with, definitely the doctors and learning how to prescribe properly, and the individualized treatment. The way Life of Purpose does things with the younger population is a lot different from any other model. So you have to meet people where they're at. It's different for everybody.
But if
The
we're,
Surgeon General, what he's put out is music to my ears. It's a beautiful thing, because that's literally what he's saying. It starts with the language. You gotta have individualized treatment, and it's full spectrum.
yeah. So hopefully it gets the attention of people, and we see a shift here and a better day for everybody, huh?
Absolutely.
Sounds good. James, those are all the questions I had in mind for you. Was there anything else that you wanted to point out or mention here before I hit stop?
Not that I can think of.
All right, sounds good then. Well done. And then if there's anything that you would rather not be included, let me know. I'll work with you. Well done. You did great. You leave that on for just 1 second, and